Hello students, welcome to BioSmart Academy. In today's lecture, we will continue our lecture series on developmental biology. Okay, and we already uploaded 3 lectures on developmental biology, and as we promised that we will basically upload free lectures for CSI June 2021 so that you can take it and prepare for your CSI June 2021. Okay, and believe me, if you watch our lectures on YouTube, then you definitely going to crack this exam. Please watch our lectures, please make notes from our lectures, then you get a clear cut concept, and we will going to upload the lectures from each and every module. Okay, we upload all the important lectures. So we already uploaded many lectures on cell biology, biochemistry, immunology, as well as we uploaded 3 lectures on dev bio as well. And we complete the dev bio basically lecture series all, because every year we all know that 5 to 6 questions basically asked from the developmental biology unit on section C. So if you follow our lecture series of developmental biology on our YouTube channel, you will definitely going to solve from 5 to 6. You definitely can solve 5 questions. So please follow our YouTube channel and please share to all those candidates, all those students who basically prepare for CSI June 2021 life science. Okay, now, so today we will continue our lecture series on the axis formation of Drosophila. We already uploaded part 1 of the lecture, and today we will going to upload the part 2 of the lecture series. Okay, that is the axis formation in Drosophila. So I request you that please first watch the part 1, then came here to watch the part 2. Okay, so if we revise, so in part 1 we basically discuss about the basic about the Drosophila, that why we use Drosophila, and we discuss in a simple way about the zygotic genes. Okay, so that was a basically introductory part, so you can watch that from that you get a idea. Okay, now for today we will going to discuss about a very important portion from the axis formation in Drosophila. That is the anterior posterior polarity in oocyte. Okay, that is how the anterior and posterior polarity is basically established in oocyte of Drosophila. Okay, so basically we are going to discuss this topic today. Okay, so now just look at this figure. Okay, and yes, please follow the Gilbert book of developmental biology for CSI net. We also teach you from that book. Okay, so you can make note from our lectures. So basically, if you see, this is the egg chamber. Okay, this is the what? This is the egg chamber. Clear? This is the egg chamber. Now in egg chamber, you can see here oocyte is present. This is a oocyte. This portion is oocyte is present, and this is a nucleus. This is a nucleus. Okay, this is the nucleus. Okay, clear? So basically, the anterior posterior polarity of the embryo is established while the oocyte is still in the egg chamber. Okay, that is oocyte is present in the egg chamber and anterior posterior polarity is basically established, and it also involved the interaction between the egg cell, between the egg cell, between the egg cell and the follicular cell. So these are the follicle cells, these are the follicle cells. Okay, these are the follicle cells. Okay, so the interaction between the egg cell and follicle cell occur in the establishment of this anterior posterior polarity. Clear? Now another one thing is that, yes, the follicular epithelium that's surrounding the oocyte, this is the follicular epithelium, this surrounding the oocyte is initially uniform with respect to its fate, but its uniformity is broken by two signals. Remember, two signals, and remember these two signals are organized by oocyte nucleus. Okay, now if you zoom this figure, this figure will the zoom out part of this figure. Now this is a nucleus portion, as you can see labeled. Okay, so from this nucleus two signals is generated. Okay, two signals is generated. Two signals is generated. Clear? And interestingly, these two signal code for the same gene, and that gene is gherkin. That gene is gherkin. Clear? So remember this point, and this signal is basically established from the oocyte nucleus. Okay. Now, the gherkin message appears to be synthesized in nerve cell. Okay, the gherkin message is synthesized in the nerve cell. These are the nerve cells. Clear? So appear to be synthesized in the nerve cells, but is transported into oocyte. Okay, but from nerve cell it is going to be transported into the oocyte. Transported into the oocyte. Okay, like this. But how it transport to the oocyte? Okay, so here the localized between the oocyte nucleus and trans cell membrane, and it is translated into gherkin protein. Means when the gherkin is synthesized in the nerve cell, it is transported into oocyte, and in oocyte it is basically translated into gherkin protein. Okay, clear now? So basically, when the gherkin is transported into oocyte nucleus, there some receptor should be there, so that gherkin is received by the follicle cell. Okay, and that receptor is basically what? Torpedo. This is the torpedo. So the receptor for gherkin is torpedo. Clear? So you can see here, these are the receptor of torpedo. These are the receptor. Okay, and these are the gherkin. These are the gherkin. Okay, in red, these are the gherkin. Clear? So basically receptor present, and this basically receptor are basically synthesized from terminal follicle cells. Terminal follicle cells. Okay, so this signal result in the posterization of this follicle cell. So these signals basically result in the posterization, okay, that is the posterior part of the follicle cells. Now clear? Now the posterior follicle cell then again send back signal in the oocyte, into the oocyte. Okay, and the signal, a lipid kinase, therefore recruits the PAR1 protein. Recruit what? PAR1 protein. PAR1 protein. Okay, and this PAR1 protein basically present in the posterior edge of the oocyte cytoplasm. Edge of the oocyte cytoplasm. Clear? Now this PAR1 protein basically organize a microtubule. Okay, so basically now look at this figure. Okay, this is a figure. So basically these are the posterior follicle cells. Okay, and these are the anterior follicle cells. Clear? And these are the nerve cells. These are the nerve cells. Nerve cells. Clears? And here you can see a binding between the gherkin protein and receptor takes place. Okay, now the PAR1 protein basically recruit. Okay, recruit. Now this PAR1 protein basically arranged basically a microtubule. So this is the microtubules. This is the microtubule, and remember microtubule has two ends. One is plus end, which is known as growing end. Growing end. Okay, one is plus end. So PAR1 protein organize microtubule with their plus and minus end. So plus end basically known as the growing end. Okay, and the minus end is basically known as cap end. Minus end is known as cap ends, and plus end is growing ends at the anterior and the posterior end of the oocyte. Okay, so basically this is the whole oocyte. So this is a whole oocyte. Okay, so along in the oocyte basically microtubules are organized by the PAR1 protein, and this microtubules has two ends, that is plus end and minus end. In the plus end it is known as growing end, and minus end is known as cap end. Clear? Now the orientation of the microtubule is important. Why the orientation of microtubule is important? Orientation means from basically where it going to move. The orientation of microtubule is important or critical because different microtubule motor protein will transport their mRNA on protein cargos in different direction. That's why it's important, because different microtubule basically carry in different direction. Clear? Different direction. Okay, now remember one point, just note it down. The thing that I'm going to discuss is that the protein kinesin. Okay, the protein kinesin. Okay, kinesin is an ATPase. It is an ATPase, and from ATPase you know that it utilizes the energy of ATP to transport material to the plus end of the microtubule. To transport material to the plus end. So it basically transport the material into the plus end of the microtubule. That is the growing end. Clear? And another protein, that is dynein. Okay, just note it down. Dynein. Dynein. Okay, it is minus directed. So basically kinesin is what? Plus end. That is plus directed. Dynein is what? Dynein is basically minus directed. Minus directed. Note down. So it is minus directed motor protein that transport its cargo in the opposite direction, that is to the kinesin. Clear? Now, so basically now one thing note down here. So basically one of the message that is transported by kinesin. So what that message is, that Oscar mRNA. So one of the message that is transported by the kinesin along the microtubule to the posterior end of the oocyte, to this posterior end. So this is the posterior end of the oocyte. Okay, and in this is the anterior end of the oocyte. Okay, this is anterior end of the oocyte. So from anterior to posterior, one message is transported. If we dark it, this message is transported. So this basically transported. So one message is transported, and this message is known as what? This message is known as Oscar mRNA. I bold it down. Please note it down. Oscar mRNA. Clear? So Oscar mRNA. Okay. Now Oscar mRNA is not able to translate it. It will not going to translate until it reaches the posterior cortex. So until and unless it reaches to this posterior cortex, it is not going to translate it into Oscar protein. From mRNA to protein, that is not going to translate. Okay, it will remain in its mRNA form. Okay, so basically Oscar mRNA basically transported by which microtubule part? That is the kinesin 1. Very important for 2 marks question. Kinesin 1 transport the Oscar mRNA. Kinesin 1. Okay. Now, Oscar, then what happened? Oscar recruit what? Oscar recruit PAR1 protein. Okay, more PAR1 protein. It recruit more PAR1 protein. Thereby what happened? That it stabilized the microtubule orientation. Okay, it stabilized the microtubule orientation, so that this microtubule orientation is stabilized, is actually recruit more this Oscar basically recruit more PAR1 protein, and it stabilizes the microtubule basically orientation, and allowing more material to be recruited, so that more material to be recruited to the more material recruited into the posterior end of the oocyte, so that more material can transfer into posterior end of the oocyte. Clear? Now at the end, what have you seen? So at the end, just note it down. Posterior pole have its own cytoplasm. Posterior pole have its own cytoplasm, and this cytoplasm is known as pole plasm. The cytoplasm is known as what? Pole plasm. This cytoplasm is known as pole plasm, and this pole plasm contain the determinant. This pole plasm contain the determinant. Okay, this pole plasm contain the determinant. Okay, this pole plasm contain the determinants. Note down. For producing the abdomen and germ cell. For producing the abdomen and germ cell. Clear? I hope that till now you get the clear idea. Okay, now next. So now look at this figure. So basically the cytoskeletal rearrangement basically occur in the oocyte. Basically, as a result, there is an increase in the oocyte volume. You can see there is an increase in the oocyte volume. There is an increase in the oocyte volume, and basically more and more cytoplasmic components are transferred from the nerve cell. Okay, more and more cytoplasmic components are transferred from the nerve cell, and this remember this component include maternal messenger. Okay, this component include messengers maternal messengers. Okay, okay, maternal messengers. And what are these maternal messengers? Note down: bicoid and nanos. Clear? And these bicoid, actually these are mRNAs. Okay, bicoid mRNA and nanos mRNA. Clear? And this bicoid and nanos mRNA are carried by motor protein. Okay, these are carried by what? Motor protein. These are carried by motor protein. Motor protein. These are carried by motor protein. Clear? Along the microtubule. Along the microtubule to the both anterior end and posterior end. To the anterior and the posterior end. It means the bicoid is carrying along the anterior end. Okay. And nanos is carrying along the posterior end. Clear? And both the bicoid and nanos carrying to their anterior and posterior end by the motor proteins along the microtubule. Clear? So the protein product encoded by bicoid and nanos, the protein product note down, encoded by bicoid and nanos, the protein product encoded by bicoid and nanos are critical for establishing the anterior and the posterior polarity of the embryo. Okay, so students, that's all for today's lecture. I hope that you like the lecture. If you like the lecture, please share to those students who need this. Okay, because we were basically start a journey so that we upload free lectures on YouTube, and this will going to definitely helps CSIR NET exam 2021. So in our next lecture of axis formation in Drosophila, we will continue from bicoid and nanos. Okay, we will continue from bicoid and nanos. Okay, we will see how the bicoid and nanos are critical for establishing the anterior and posterior polarity of the embryo. How bicoid and nanos are critical for establishing the anterior and posterior polarity of the embryo. We will see in our next lecture. Till then, thank you.